All right, this is going to be an update to my update for season 28. So let's get into it. So, as you could have seen, as we were first launching the game, Guardian is complete. So, I have spent some time playing a game over the last few weeks. After waiting a month or so to actually get into doing season 28, I decided, I'd go ahead and play it and see what it's all about. And so I started season 28 a month late compared to most people. But here I am, just a couple, 2 weeks into it, a little over 2 weeks into season 28. And I've already, with very little time and effort, unlocked every seal at the Altar of Rites. The worst part of the Altar of Rites for me was doing the Staff of Herding, because it just took forever to get the Gibbering Gemstone, so I could complete the crafting of that and then unlock the final seal on this silver level here that I was working on, which was the double death breaths. I put that one off compared to the others because my follower has got the armor on that allows me to get double death breaths anyway, so I wasn't too pressed about getting that seal initially. But in order to complete everything, I needed to unlock that. And so that took the longest, and then waiting on primals to drop so I can unlock warning. Probably the two worst parts. After that, I think the third worst part was probably just waiting on getting high enough in Paragon levels to be able to have a high enough blood shard level, because at one point there was one of the seals that required something like 1,600 blood shards, and so it was a matter of going up in Paragon levels until the point of getting the blood shards, to get the cap up higher, and then of course earn the blood shards. But once that was completed, I was pretty happy. I was going around and just leveling up. It was great. I had gotten myself all the way up here to 1261 already, and then I decided, what else is there to do in the season, right? I've already unlocked the Altar of Rites. I've already got the Gears of Dreadland armor set for the Demon Hunter that you get when you complete chapters 1 through 4. So I'm like, one thing I had never done with the seasons when I played them in the past, was I've never gone through and completed the entire setup. Usually I stop at chapter 4, maybe Slayer, because I wasn't too stressed about it. I know the pets usually transfer over into non-season, and become available there to be found. So, I wasn't too stressed about that, because pets didn't really do much for you anyway at the time. Now pets, they pick up your gold, they'll do other stuff. Hopefully the pets picking up crafting materials and salvaging them for you will continue over into non-season. That would be cool. But for this particular season, I saw people running around with this little golden dragon, and I knew it was part of completing everything for the season journey, so I decided, what the heck, why not? And I went through and worked my way all the way through to Guardian. I think the worst part for the season journey here was doing the conquests. So you have certain conquests that you've got to achieve in order to finish out the Guardian. So you have to have at least 2 conquests at one point, and then 3 conquests at another. So I did the Speed Demon, which, doing a Nephilim Rift in less than 2 minutes is fairly easy. The only thing that sucks about that was, to whip through it as fast as I did, I had to leave everything behind. So whatever the pet couldn't pick up at that time was left behind. And there was a lot of legendaries and a lot of freaking green legendaries being dropped that got left behind, in order to ensure that I got all the way through the rift and then closed it out in the time limit in order to get this Speed Demon. So, after that, leveling up the gems isn't hard. If you're able to do a level 85 or above greater rift, you just got to get 3 gems to level 65. So do it at level 85 if you got enough money to do it, which I'm I've been pretty lucky as far as finding puzzle rings, so I was up into the billions for gold already. So I just did the enhanced greater rifts, so I could get 5 gem levelings each time, and whip these right up, no problem. Uh, and then after that, it was just a matter of doing another conquest. And so after reading up on some of these different conquests, I tried the boss mode one for a little while. Um, and I could get all but like the last two every time that I tried it. I would get the last two, and I even tried to go through knowing that Urzael's hard to get to, has a lot of cutscenes that you got to sit through before you can finish beating him. I was like, okay, I'll knock out Urzael first. Malthael, knock him out next. Um, and I tried to go through things like that with like Belial. Again, has some cutscenes that you got to deal with. So I tried to knock out the most difficult ones first and then whip through the easiest ones. I tried doing the easiest ones first and then knocking out the harder ones. No matter what I did, I always failed this with at least 2 people left to go in trying to get it done in 20 minutes. So at that point, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do the curses. And so this one was easy enough to actually accomplish if you do it the right way. You got to look for the Cursed Peat bounty that shows up in Act 5 West March on the Paths of the Drowned. So when you bring up your map and you go to Act 5, you're going to West March and you're looking for a bounty that shows up right here under Paths of the Drowned. It's called the Cursed Peat. You get that. You go to the top of the peat pile there, whatever you want to call it, and you will just get inundated with things to kill once you touch the cursed chest. At that point, you just want to crush as many as you can. The cursed chest bounty itself is to kill 100 people before the timer runs out, and then of course for the curses conquest, you got to kill 350. So it's not that difficult. You will get more than enough enemies to be able to achieve it. It's just a matter of having the right setup to achieve it. For me, using the God Hunter setup didn't work. Gears of Dreadlands didn't work. The area of damage is not a big enough area because your strafe is basically random shooting, right? And then, of course, your Hungering Arrow is point target based. So it goes after the nearest enemy and then pierces through. And if your fire rate is high enough, you might be able to achieve it with that setup. But I found, based on some stuff that I read that the Unhallowed Essence multi-shot build would be a better and easier one. So if you're playing a Demon Hunter and you're going after all the conquests and everything and you want to achieve filling out the entire season to the Guardian level, I recommend to do the curses because it's not that hard, but make sure you have an Unhallowed Essence multi-shot setup. At that point, as soon as I touched the cursed chest, all I did was start firing left and right with the multi-shot, and it just decimated everything. I also played it at Torment 12 because you only have to be Torment 10 at a minimum. I didn't want to go that low, but I didn't play it at Torment 16 either. I played it at Torment 12, 2 higher than the minimum recommended, and just crushed it. The first few times I did try it with the Gears of Dreadland God setup, that didn't work. I would always miss it by like 30 or less each time, which was frustrating to get like 337 kills, and just barely miss it. At one point I had something like 346 kills using that Gears of Dreadland, and so I'm missing it by 4. After a few times of that, I was just like, no, there's got to be a better way to do it. And of course, the Unhallowed Essence was the recommended way. So I went ahead and did that. And the first time I tried it with the Unhallowed Essence, demolished it, and got that final conquest that I needed to have 3 conquests in order to finish out the Guardian level for the entire season journey. The only other worst part of that particular conquest was looking for it. You kind of constantly come here to West March, look. If you don't see Cursed Peat as a bounty, you just immediately leave the game and then go and relaunch the game over and over and over again until it shows up. It was probably every, I don't know, 7 or 8 launches of the game. So I'd get in and out about 7 or 8 times, and then it would show up. And so it's not that hard, right? You just choose to leave game, go back into it the minute you're out of it, and wait for that to show up. Just make sure you're using that unhallowed essence, because that works the best for the demon hunter, in my opinion. Like I said, I crushed it right away, and that allowed me to then finish out the entire season journey. Everything is done, so the altar of rites is done. The chapters are all completed all the way up through Guardian. I've got my portrait frames, and then I got my pet, which was my whole motivation for this. I really liked that little dragon. I thought it was cool looking, and so I wanted to get it. And so I spent an entire rainy Saturday morning working to achieve getting that pet. So pretty much at this point, everything about the season is completed for me. There's nothing left to really achieve as far as the season journey goes itself. At this point, it's just a matter of spending some time doing the grind and getting my character Paragon levels up. I was looking at the Paragon to season to non-season Paragon calculator on Maxroll, so shout out to them. And I would like to see if I could get my character to at least 2,500 Paragon level here, because when that transitions over, that's going to put me at 3,000 in the non-season. And then, of course, at that point, I'll be able to transition some of this equipment that I found over to that character and make him more powerful. Because while I haven't found nothing too great here in comparison to my non-season, I would like to get this Primal Hunter's Wrath over there. It is a much better Hunter's Wrath than the one I'm wearing, because obviously it's Primal, and my non-season does not have a Primal on. They do have the 200% increased damage on their Ancient Legendary, but it's not Primal Ancient. And so I definitely want to go for the Primal Ancient over there and try to have that character have everything Primal. So hopefully, as I play throughout the season, I will find more Primal stuff here. This is a crafted Primal, and I've already got a crafted Primal on the non-season, so this ain't going to do me any good. But we'll figure out which between the two is the better of the Dawns. And then I'll keep the better one and probably trash the lesser of the two, or maybe just hold on to it for who knows what reason. But then hopefully, throughout the season, I can find more Primal stuff here and get everything built up. Right now, I'm working on looking for more of those little screaming gems. I can never remember the name of these stupid screaming gems, for whatever they're called, to get the Whisper of Atonement gem, because I still have a lot of stuff to augment. I just found an Ancient Focus, so I need to get an Ancient Restraint, and then augment both of those. I've already augmented my Ballista, I've augmented my Dawn, I've augmented my boots, my pants. I need to augment the belt. I've augmented my torso, I've augmented my helm, I've augmented the shoulders, augmented the hands. I just need to augment the bracers here, and then I need to get an Ancient or better amulet so that I can augment that, and then I'll be fully augmented, and then we'll just see how it goes. What I've been doing for a lot of this is when I find duplicate items, if they're not as good as what I'm wearing, I'm keeping them. And then I'm using the conversion, as silly as this sounds. The conversion setup is probably the best to convert them into pieces that I might need. Now here it tells you you can't get Ancient, which is fine. But here you can, reforge, right? So my recommendation here is get into public games where they're doing bounties, run through and collect all the bounties, because you can get through them faster. Everybody, a 4-man team, everybody takes one act, crushes out all the bounties in their respective act, then you all join up at the final act and wipe it out, and you can go through it a heck of a lot faster than doing it on your own. And you just build up your caches. If you have everything about the Altar of Rites unlocked, you're going to get a ton of caches, because you get double caches for every bounty. So that's kind of nice. And then you build up your materials here, and then come in and reforge your duplicates over and over and over again until you get like a really good ancient or even a primal ancient. I'm going to go back through and play some bounties, and because I need to build up my materials, I'm pretty low on some of that stuff now, and then go from there. But yeah, at this point, the season journey itself is over. There's nothing left for me to do but build up my Paragon levels, and then of course try to build up to higher, greater rifts. I got into a public game with some people. They were way up there. We're talking 3,000s and 4,000s on the Paragon levels. And so I was able to complete a 140, which was nice. We did not go any higher, even though it did unlock these two. We didn't go any higher, but that allowed me to get my gems up really quick to the 125 and 126 levels on all my gems. So I'd like to get those higher because, of course, the higher your gems, the more powerful you are. So that'll be fun to do if I can do that again. And then, yeah, those are my main goals left now until the season ends, is to do public games, push with other players, try to get my gems maxed out if I can, and then get as many Paragon levels as I can. And then hope to find really good gear along the way as I go. So if you're not playing Seasons yet, I recommend playing Season for Season 28 at least. It's been a really fun season for me. I'm not a seasonal player for the most part, unless there is a specific set of armor that I want to get for a character, in which case I've already had everything I need for the Demon Hunter. And pretty much every set that's available right now, because they haven't introduced anything new lately, but every set that's out there is available in non-season. So I don't really play the seasons because I could just get what I want in the non-season. Just as easily. But this Altar of Rights thing is something I wanted to try. It made the season a lot more enjoyable for me, and I hope it makes it enjoyable for others who are playing it. And I'm looking forward to progressing a little bit more on some things to then get things even better for when I transfer over to the non-season character at the end of the season. So if you're not playing seasons, give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy Season 28. It's been really fun for me over the last couple, 2-3 weeks that I've been playing it here. I really wish I would have started playing it when the season started back in February, but I'm just not a seasonal player for the most part, and so I wasted a month, a little over a month of time where I could be a heck of a lot higher than what I am probably. So again, Season 28, been real fun. I hope anybody who's playing it is enjoying it as much as I am, and if you're not playing it, give it a shot, and hopefully you will then enjoy it as much as I have.